The triplets came home when they were 2 months old. Kioma had prepared everything. 3 cribs, 3 of everything. She'd hired 2 experienced nannies, Grace among them, who'd quit the hospital to help full-time. The apartment that once felt spacious now felt like a baby factory, with feeding schedules posted on the wall and baby supplies in every corner. Those first months were a blur of diapers, bottles, and sleep deprivation so extreme Kioma sometimes forgot her own name. 3 babies meant someone was always crying, always hungry, always needing something. She'd feed one, burp them, put them down, and immediately pick up the next one. But slowly, impossibly, they found a rhythm. By the time the babies were 4 months old, Kioma had lost all her pregnancy weight without trying. She'd lost even more, running on adrenaline, coffee, and pure determination. Her body transformed into something leaner, stronger than it had ever been. She started therapy twice a week, a counselor in Accra who specialized in helping women process trauma and rebuild their lives. The sessions were hard, confronting the pain of her failed marriage, the betrayal, the loneliness, but necessary. "You've been surviving," her therapist said during one session. "It's time to start thriving." Thriving felt impossible with 3 4-month-olds, but Kioma started small. She joined a gym with childcare. 30 minutes on the treadmill 3 times a week while the nannies watched the babies. Those 30 minutes became her meditation, her sanctuary. She updated her wardrobe, donating everything that reminded her of her married life. New clothes, new style, new version of herself emerging from the ashes of who she used to be. 6 months postpartum, the Catalyst Ventures deal closed. $20 million landed in her company's account. The press release went out. Okonkwo Logistics secures $20 million Series B to transform African delivery networks. Forbes Africa reached out for an interview. TechCrunch Africa wrote a profile. Suddenly, Kioma wasn't just a divorced woman hiding in Accra. She was a tech entrepreneur, a success story, a woman to watch. The photos from the Forbes shoot showed someone Kioma barely recognized. Confident, powerful, wearing a tailored suit with the triplets in matching outfits. The headline, "How this single mother built a $100 million company while raising triplets." Her sister called from Lagos, screaming, "Chi, you're in Forbes. Everyone here is talking about you." "Are they?" Kioma asked, feeding Chukwu while balancing her phone on speaker. "Marcus's friends are losing their minds. People are asking him if he knew you were doing so well. If he knew about the babies." Kioma felt nothing at the mention of Marcus's name. That's how she knew she'd healed. His name no longer had power over her. "What does he say?" "Nobody knows. He and Jasmine have gone quiet on social media lately. But people are connecting the dots. The babies are 6 months old. The divorce was less than 2 years ago. Some people are speculating." "Let them speculate," Kioma said calmly. "My life isn't their entertainment anymore." She hung up and looked at her 3 babies. Chukwu reaching for her face, Chidera sleeping peacefully, Adana cooing at the ceiling fan. They were healthy now, growing fast, each developing their own personality. This was her life, her family, her triumph, and she'd built it all without Marcus Thompson. The announcement came through a forwarded Instagram post from a former friend who couldn't resist sharing gossip. Jasmine had posted a photo of herself in a white dress, hands cradling a barely there bump. The caption read, "Our greatest adventure begins. Baby Thompson arriving February 2026. Marcus and I are over the moon. God's timing is perfect. What we prayed for is finally happening." What we prayed for. God's timing is perfect. The implications were clear. This pregnancy was the blessing, the right one, the one that mattered. Not like Kioma's failed attempts, her desperate IVF cycles, her body that couldn't cooperate. The comments section exploded with congratulations. Mrs. Thompson wrote, "My prayers have been answered. Finally a grandchild. Finally." Like Kioma's 3 6-month-old babies didn't exist. Which to them, they didn't. Kioma sat in her Accra living room, Adana on her lap, watching Chukwu and Chidera playing on their activity mat. She looked at Jasmine's announcement, then at her actual living, breathing children, and almost laughed at the absurdity. Marcus was celebrating his impending fatherhood, while his actual children, 3 of them, were learning to roll over in another country. Her phone rang. It was Ngozi. "Please tell me you're not upset about that ridiculous post." "I'm not," Kioma said, surprised to realize she meant it. "I genuinely hope she has a healthy pregnancy and an easy delivery. I hope she never experiences what I went through. You're a better person than me. I hope she gets terrible morning sickness." Kioma laughed. "Ngozi." "What? That man abandoned you when you needed him most. Now he gets to play happy family with someone else while you're raising his children alone? It's infuriating." "It would be, if I still cared. But I don't." Marcus made his choice. He chose easy over loyal, surface over substance. He chose someone who fit his image over someone who loved him through hell. "And you chose yourself," Ngozi said softly. "You chose those babies when he wanted to destroy them. You chose your business when he said you were obsessed. You chose to heal instead of staying bitter. Chi, you won. You just don't see it yet." After they hung up, Kioma thought about those words. Had she won? Her ex-husband was having a baby with his new wife. His family was complete, happy, uncomplicated. He'd gotten everything he wanted. A beautiful wife, a pregnancy announcement that garnered thousands of likes, a fresh start with no painful history attached. But Kioma had 3 miracles sleeping and playing in her home. She had a thriving company valued at $100 million. She had genuine friendships, a support system she'd built from scratch, and most importantly, she had peace. She'd stopped waiting for Marcus to validate her worth, stopped believing his rejection meant she was broken. Maybe Ngozi was right. Maybe she had won, just not in the way she'd expected to. Not by getting Marcus back or proving him wrong, but by building a life so full, so complete, so undeniably hers, that his absence didn't leave a hole anymore. Kioma decided to return to Lagos when the triplets turned 8 months old. It wasn't fear anymore that had kept her away. It was convenience. Accra had been her safe space, her recovery zone, the place where she'd transformed from broken wife to confident mother and CEO. But her business needed her in Lagos. The Nigerian market was their biggest revenue source, and managing it remotely was becoming inefficient. "Are you sure?" Ngozi asked during a video call. "You're comfortable there. Why come back to all the drama?" "There's no drama anymore," Kioma said, Chidera bouncing on her knee. "Marcus has his life, I have mine. I'm not hiding. I'm coming home." She purchased a penthouse in Ikoyi, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Lagos Lagoon, 4 bedrooms, dedicated nursery space, and a home office. The price tag was obscene, but Kioma paid cash without blinking. Series B money had made her wealthy in ways she was still processing. The moving process took 3 weeks, shipping baby equipment, furniture, hiring staff for the new place. She brought Grace with her. The woman had become family, essential to managing 3 active babies who were now crawling and getting into everything. Word of her return spread quickly through Lagos social circles. Former friends reached out, suddenly interested in reconnecting. "Kioma, welcome back. We should get coffee." "Chi, I heard about your success. So proud of you. Let's have lunch and catch up." Kioma ignored most of the messages. These people had chosen Marcus's side, had celebrated his wedding to Jasmine, had made her feel like the problem in her own marriage. Now they wanted back in because she was Forbes featured and wealthy. She kept her circle small, genuine friends who'd supported her during the darkness, not just those attracted to her light. Her first week back, she took the triplets to a high-end baby boutique in Victoria Island. They needed new clothes. Nigerian weather was different from Accra's, and the babies had outgrown most of their wardrobe anyway. Kioma was examining tiny shoes when she heard a familiar voice. "Oh my God, those babies are adorable." She turned. A former mutual friend stood there, someone who'd attended both her wedding and Marcus's remarriage. "Kioma, is that you? And are these?" Are these your babies? Yes, Kioma said calmly, lifting Adana from the stroller. But I didn't know you. When did you... Are you married again? No, still single. These are my triplets, Chukwu, Chidera, and Adana. The woman's eyes went wide, doing mental math. Triplets? How old are they? 8 months. More math. 8 months old meant Kioma was pregnant around the time of Marcus's wedding. The woman's face showed her calculations, the questions forming. Wow, Wow. They're beautiful. Who's the father, if you don't mind me asking? Kioma smiled sweetly. I do mind, actually. Excuse me, we have shopping to finish. She pushed the triple stroller away, leaving the woman standing there with her mouth open. By evening, Kioma's phone was buzzing. The gossip had started. Kioma Okonkwo was back in Lagos with 3 babies, and nobody knew where they'd come from. The invitation arrived at Kioma's office 3 weeks after her return to Lagos. Heavy cardstock, gold foil lettering, expensive and excessive, exactly what she'd expect from Jasmine. Her assistant brought it in with the morning mail, eyebrows raised. This just came by courier, hand-delivered. The guy said it was urgent. Kioma opened the envelope. Inside was an elaborate invitation to Marcus and Jasmine's baby shower, scheduled for 6 weeks from now at the Wheatbaker Hotel. Below the printed details was a handwritten note in Jasmine's loopy handwriting. Dear Kioma, I know things ended badly between you and Marcus, but I believe in moving forward with grace and forgiveness. We'd love for you to celebrate this special moment with us. No hard feelings, right? It would mean so much to Marcus and me if you came. Let's show Lagos that mature adults can coexist peacefully. XOXO, Jasmine. Kioma read it twice, then handed it to her assistant. What do you think this is? Her assistant scanned it and scoffed. This is a power move. She wants to parade her pregnancy in front of you. Show you that she won. She got the man. She's having his baby. She's living the life you couldn't have. Exactly what Kioma thought. She called Ngozi immediately. They invited me to their baby shower. What? Those people have no shame. Obviously you're not going, right? I don't know yet. It's a trap. Jasmine wants to humiliate you. She probably told all their friends she's inviting you just to show how mature and gracious she is. Then you'll show up looking sad and pathetic while she glows in her pregnancy dress and everyone will pity you. Or, Kioma said slowly, I show up looking exactly like I do now. Successful, confident, with my life together. I let them see that I'm fine. Better than fine. But why give them the satisfaction? Why go at all? That was the question Kioma kept asking herself over the next few days. She could ignore the invitation, stay away, let Marcus and Jasmine have their moment without her presence complicating things. That would be the mature thing to do. But something about that handwritten note bothered her. Let's show Lagos that mature adults can coexist peacefully. Translation. Let me show Lagos that I won, that you're so broken you can't even handle being in the same room as us, that you're still bitter while we're blissfully happy. Kioma thought about her 3 babies at home, about the Forbes article, about the $100 million company, about the penthouse, the peace she'd found, the life she'd built from absolute destruction. She thought about closure. Real closure, not the kind you get from avoiding someone, but the kind that comes from facing them and realizing they have no power over you anymore. She picked up her phone and texted the RSVP number on the invitation. Kioma Okonkwo, +3, looking forward to it. Her assistant stared at her. +3? Are you bringing the babies? Kioma smiled. Every single one of them. Kioma's decision to attend the baby shower wasn't impulsive. It was strategic. Over the next week, she did research. She called former mutual friends, people who still moved in Marcus and Jasmine's circles, asking casual questions about the upcoming event. What she learned made everything clear. Jasmine's been telling everyone she invited you, one friend admitted. She keeps saying how she wants to show there's no bad feelings, that she's the bigger person. But between you and me, she's setting you up. She told someone at brunch that it would be therapeutic for you to see them happy. Therapeutic. Like attending their celebration would somehow heal Kioma's supposed brokenness. Another friend provided more context. Marcus wasn't sure about inviting you. Apparently he thought it was weird. But Jasmine insisted. She said, and I quote, "Let her come see what real happiness looks like. Maybe it'll help her move on." The cruelty was breathtaking. This wasn't an olive branch. It was a public execution disguised as grace. Jasmine wanted Kioma to show up looking defeated, desperate, maybe even emotional. She'd probably prepared tissues, planned concerned glances, rehearsed comforting words. The narrative was already written. Poor Kioma, still struggling while we're thriving. What Jasmine didn't know was that the story had changed completely. Kioma called her stylist. "I need an outfit for a baby shower. Something that says successful, unbothered, and absolutely not trying too hard." She scheduled appointments, hair, nails, a subtle makeup look that enhanced rather than masked. Nothing overdone, just polished, confident, expensive. Then she called her nanny team. "We're taking the triplets out in 6 weeks. I need you all available that day. Full support." Grace looked concerned. "Where are we taking them?" "To a baby shower." "Whose baby shower?" "My ex-husband's." Grace's eyes widened. Are you sure about this? Taking the babies to—" "I'm not doing this for revenge," Kioma interrupted. "I'm doing this for closure. I need to walk into that room, see Marcus and Jasmine, and feel nothing. I need to prove to myself that I've moved on, not just in theory but in reality. And yes, I'm bringing my children because they're part of my life. I'm not hiding them." But there was more to it than that, and Kioma knew it. She wanted Marcus to see what he'd thrown away, not her. He'd made his choice about her, and she'd accepted it. But his children. 3 beautiful, healthy babies that were biologically his, created from the embryos he'd wanted destroyed. Children he'd never know were his own. It was complicated. Maybe it was petty. Definitely it was risky. But Kioma had spent 2 years being the victim in her own story, the woman who couldn't get pregnant, the wife who wasn't enough, the divorcee everyone pitied. She was done with that narrative. Walking into that baby shower with her 3 thriving children, her successful business and her rebuilt life, wasn't about proving anything to Marcus and Jasmine. It was about proving something to herself, that she had not just survived, but transformed completely. That the woman Marcus had called broken was actually the strongest version of herself she'd ever been. The morning of the baby shower, Kioma woke up at 5 a.m., nerves humming through her body. She'd barely slept, playing out scenarios in her mind. What would she say to Marcus? How would Jasmine react? Would people stare, whisper, make it uncomfortable? Then she looked at her 3 babies sleeping peacefully in their cribs. Chukwu on his back, arms spread wide. Chidera curled on his side, Adana with her tiny fist near her mouth, and remembered why she was doing this. Not for drama, not for revenge, for closure. Her stylist arrived at 9 a.m. with the outfit they'd chosen, a tailored emerald green jumpsuit that hugged her post-baby body perfectly, paired with nude heels and minimal gold jewelry. Elegant, expensive, confident without trying too hard. "You look incredible," the stylist said, stepping back to admire her work. Like Money and Peace had a baby. Her makeup artist kept things natural. Glowing skin, defined eyes, a nude lip. "We want you to look like you woke up like this," she explained. Effortless. By 11 a.m., Kioma stood in front of her full-length mirror, almost not recognizing herself. The woman staring back wasn't the broken, desperate wife Marcus had left. This woman looked powerful, complete, unbothered. The baby's outfits were coordinated but not matching. Chukwu in a tiny navy suit, Chidera in light blue linen, Adana in a cream dress with a bow. They looked like they'd stepped out of a baby boutique catalog. Grace and the other nanny, Patience, wore simple black dresses, professional, and ready to help manage 3 active 8-month-olds in public. "Last chance to back out," Grace said gently. "We can stay home, order takeout, have a peaceful afternoon." Kioma considered it for a moment. The easy choice, the safe choice. Then she shook her head. "I need to do this." They loaded the babies into the custom triple stroller Kioma had imported from Europe. Sleek, modern, impossible to miss. Designer diaper bag packed with everything they might need. Backup outfits in case of diaper disasters. Bottles, snacks, toys, wipes. The drive to the Wheatbaker Hotel took 30 minutes through Lagos traffic. Kioma's heart pounded the entire way. She practiced breathing exercises her therapist had taught her. You are enough. You are whole. You are exactly where you need to be. They arrived at noon, exactly on time, not early enough to seem eager, not late enough to seem like an entrance. The hotel valet's eyes widened when he saw the triple stroller being unloaded. "Madam, triplets? Ah, God is good." "Yes, he is," Kioma agreed, tipping him generously. The lobby was decorated in gold and white. Balloons, flowers, elaborate displays spelling out "Baby Thompson" in huge letters. Jasmine had gone all out just as expected. Kioma caught her reflection in the lobby mirror one last time. She looked good. More importantly, she felt ready. Grace positioned herself on one side of the stroller, Patience on the other. The babies were alert, looking around at all the decorations with wide eyes. "Ready?" Grace asked. Kioma took a deep breath, straightened her shoulders, and wrapped her hands around the stroller handle. "Ready." They walked toward the ballroom entrance where the sounds of celebration and laughter drifted out. Everything was about to change. The ballroom was even more extravagant than Kioma had imagined. Gold and white everything, balloons creating elaborate arches, flowers cascading from every surface, a dessert table that looked like something from a royal wedding. A massive banner hung across the back wall. "Welcome, Baby Thompson." At least 200 guests filled the space, all dressed in their finest, chatting, laughing, celebrating. A live band played soft jazz in the corner. Waiters circulated with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Kioma paused just inside the entrance, scanning the room. She spotted Marcus immediately, standing near the gift table, wearing an expensive suit, laughing at something someone said. He looked happy, comfortable, like a man who'd made all the right choices. Jasmine was beside him, glowing in a white maternity dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Her pregnant belly was on full display, her hand resting on it protectively. She was holding court, surrounded by admirers telling her how beautiful she looked. This was their moment, their celebration, their perfectly curated life. Kioma pushed the stroller forward. The first person to notice was a woman standing near the entrance. Her conversation stopped mid-sentence, mouth falling open as she stared at the triple stroller. Then another person noticed. And another. Like dominoes, conversations died across the ballroom as people turned to look. The band kept playing, but everything else seemed to stop. Kioma walked slowly, deliberately, pushing her 3 babies through the crowd. Chukwu reached for the balloons overhead. Chidera babbled happily. Adana studied all the faces staring at them. Someone dropped a champagne glass. The sound of shattering crystal echoed through the suddenly silent room. Jasmine saw her first. Her face went from confusion to recognition to something that looked like horror. She grabbed Marcus's arm, squeezing hard, nodding in Kioma's direction. Marcus turned. Their eyes met across the ballroom. Kioma watched the color drain from his face, watched his expression shift from shock to confusion to something she couldn't quite read. His gaze dropped to the stroller, to the 3 babies sitting there in their coordinated outfits, and his mouth opened slightly. The silence was deafening. 200 guests stared as Kioma Okonkwo, the ex-wife who couldn't have children, the broken woman who'd been replaced, walked through the baby shower with 3 babies of her own. Mrs. Thompson appeared from somewhere in the crowd, her face a mixture of shock and disbelief. She looked at Kioma, then at the babies, then back at Kioma, like she was seeing a ghost. Kioma stopped about 10 feet from Marcus and Jasmine, close enough to be acknowledged, far enough to maintain distance. "Congratulations," she said calmly, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Thank you for the invitation. I brought my children. I hope that's okay. I don't go many places without them these days." Jasmine's smile was frozen, plastic. "Your children?" "Yes. Triplets. Chukwu, Chidera, and Adana. They're 8 months old." The math was immediate and obvious. Every person in that room was calculating. 8 months old. That meant Kioma was pregnant. Whispers started spreading like wildfire through the crowd. "Are those... She was pregnant when... Does Marcus know?" Marcus hadn't moved. He stood completely still, staring at the 3 babies, his face pale, his jaw tight. His hands were clenched at his sides. Jasmine recovered first, that influencer training kicking in. "Well, how wonderful for you, Kioma. We had no idea you'd remarried and—" "I didn't remarry," Kioma interrupted gently. "I'm still single. Just me and my 3 miracles." The silence that followed was absolute. Everyone was now staring at Marcus, waiting for his reaction. The moment stretched impossibly long, every eye in the ballroom locked on Marcus, waiting. Then someone pushed through the crowd, an older woman in a burgundy dress. Dr. Folake Adeyemi, the fertility specialist who'd treated both Marcus and Kioma during their marriage. She'd apparently been invited to the baby shower, probably as a courtesy since she was now treating Jasmine. Dr. Adeyemi's face lit up when she saw Kioma. She walked directly toward her, arms outstretched, oblivious to the tension in the room. "Kioma, oh my goodness." She embraced her warmly before crouching down to look at the babies. "And these must be your triplets. I heard through the medical community that the IVF was successful. 3 beautiful babies. This is exactly what we prayed for." The words hung in the air like an explosion. IVF. The medical community. What we prayed for. Dr. Adeyemi kept talking, completely unaware of what she'd just revealed. "And you used the embryos you and Marcus created before the divorce, yes? I remember how concerned you were about what would happen to them. I'm so glad you decided to proceed with the transfer. These babies are proof that perseverance pays off." She stood up, finally noticing the absolute silence around her. "What? Why is everyone so quiet?" Marcus made a sound, something between a gasp and a choke. He took a step toward Kioma, his face no longer pale but flushed with color. "What did she just say?" His voice was hoarse, barely above a whisper. Kioma met his eyes calmly. "She said I used our frozen embryos, the ones we created together, the ones you signed papers saying should be destroyed. But I signed those papers. The clinic was supposed to... The clinic couldn't destroy them without my consent too, and I didn't consent. I used them instead. 2 embryos transferred, both took. Then 1 split." The mathematics were simple now, undeniable. These babies had been conceived before the divorce was finalized. These babies were biologically Marcus's. Mrs. Thompson pushed forward, her face a mask of shock. "Are you saying these children are my grandchildren?" Kioma finished for her. "Yes, biologically, Marcus is their father. Though legally and in every way that matters, he gave up that right when he signed the divorce papers." The room exploded into chaos. Voices overlapping, everyone talking at once, phones coming out to capture the moment. Jasmine stood frozen, her hand still on her pregnant belly, her perfect baby shower completely derailed. Her face had gone from shock to fury to something like devastation. This was supposed to be her moment, her triumph, her proof that she'd won. Instead, she was standing next to a man who'd just discovered he already had 3 children with his ex-wife. Marcus moved toward the stroller, his movements jerky, like a puppet with cut strings. He bent down, looking at each baby's face carefully. Chukwu had his eyes, exactly his eyes, dark and deep-set. Shadera had his nose, his mouth shape. Adana had his mother's facial structure, unmistakable Thompson family features. "They're mine," he whispered, the words barely audible. "These are my children." "No," Keoma said firmly. "They're mine. You gave them up, Marcus. You wanted them destroyed, remember? Do whatever you want with them. I'm done." Those were your exact words. Marcus straightened up slowly, his eyes still fixed on the babies, his face a portrait of devastation. "You knew," he said, his voice shaking. "You knew you were pregnant with my children, and you didn't tell me." "I knew I was pregnant with my children," Keoma corrected. "Children you'd already abandoned before they existed. You were too busy planning your new life with Jasmine to care about frozen embryos." "That's different. If I'd known they were actually—" "What? You would have stayed? Canceled your wedding? Broken up with Jasmine?" Keoma's voice remained calm, but steel ran through it. "Or would you have pressured me to terminate because 3 babies didn't fit your timeline?" The question silenced him because they both knew the answer. Jasmine finally found her voice high and shrill. "This is insane. You trapped him. You got pregnant on purpose to—" "To what?" Keoma interrupted, turning to face her. "To trap a man who was already divorcing me, who'd already moved on with you. I used embryos we created during our marriage because I wanted to be a mother. Marcus made clear he wanted nothing to do with them. So I raised them alone." Mrs. Thompson pushed closer, staring at the babies with an expression Keoma couldn't quite read. Shock, definitely. But also something else. Recognition, maybe longing. "My grandchildren," she whispered. "These are Thompson babies. Look at them. They have our features, our blood." "They're Okonkwo babies," Keoma said firmly. "They carry my name, not his. They don't know Marcus, and they never will. Not as their father. You can't just decide that." Marcus's voice rose, drawing more attention. "I have rights. They're my biological children." "Rights?" Keoma's composure finally cracked, emotion bleeding through. "You have rights? Where were those rights when you called me defective? When you blamed me for our infertility struggles while refusing to do your own testing? When you had an affair because I was too heavy, too obsessive about wanting the family you promised me?" the crowd murmured. This was better than any reality show. Real drama, real pain playing out in real time. "You signed papers saying you wanted these embryos destroyed," Keoma continued, her voice gaining strength. "You told me, do whatever you want with them. I'm done. So I did. I gave them life instead of ruin. I carried them alone through a high-risk pregnancy. I paid all the medical bills. I was there for every doctor appointment, every complication, every terrifying moment. Where were you, Marcus? Honeymooning in the Maldives." Marcus flinched like she'd slapped him. "These children don't need a father who only wants them because they exist, not because he chose them. They need a father who would have fought for them, who would have stood by their mother, who would have been there from the beginning." She turned to leave, Grace and Patience moving into position to help navigate the stroller through the crowd. But Marcus grabbed her arm. "Keoma, please, don't just walk away. We need to talk about this. Those are my children." She looked down at his hand on her arm, then up at his face. "No, Marcus. They were supposed to be our children. You made them just mine when you gave up. Now, if you'll excuse me, my babies need to go home for their nap." She pulled her arm free and pushed the stroller toward the exit. Behind her, Jasmine started crying. The baby shower meant to celebrate her impending motherhood had become a showcase of the family Marcus had thrown away. Keoma made it halfway to the exit before Marcus caught up with her again. "Keoma, wait, please." His voice cracked with desperation. "We can't just— I need to understand. Why didn't you tell me? Even if you hated me, I deserve to know." She stopped, turned slowly to face him. The entire ballroom watched, guests frozen with champagne glasses halfway to their lips, desserts forgotten on plates. "You deserve to know?" Keoma's voice was quiet but cut through the silence. Let me tell you what happened, Marcus, so everyone here understands exactly why I made my choice. She took a step closer to him, her voice steady. I did the embryo transfer 2 weeks before you served me divorce papers at my office. 2 weeks before you humiliated me in front of my entire staff. I was trying to save our marriage, to give us the family you said you desperately wanted. Marcus's face paled further. But you were already done, weren't you? You were already planning your life with Jasmine, already telling your mother I was the problem, already rewriting our history to make me the villain. I never... You called me broken, Keoma continued, her voice rising slightly. You told your friends I was obsessive. You blamed me for every failed pregnancy while refusing to get tested yourself. And when I finally used our last chance at having biological children, you were too busy falling in love with someone else to notice. Mrs. Thompson made a small sound of distress. I found out I was pregnant the day after our divorce was finalized, Keoma said. I was alone, devastated, and carrying triplets. I had 2 choices. Tell you and watch you resent these babies the way you resented me, or protect them from a father who'd already proven he'd abandon them when things got difficult. That's not fair, Marcus protested weakly. Fair? Keoma's laugh was bitter. You want to talk about fair? You invited me to this baby shower to humiliate me. Jasmine told everyone it would be therapeutic for me to see you happy. You wanted to parade your new wife's pregnancy in front of the woman who couldn't give you children. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Several people looked at Jasmine, whose face had gone red. Except, I could give you children, Keoma said. I did give you children. 3 healthy, beautiful babies, but you'll never know them, Marcus. Not because I'm vindictive, but because they deserve better. They deserve a father who would fight for them, not one who has to be told they exist. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. They're my children, Chi. Please don't take them from me. I didn't take them. You gave them away. She turned to leave again, then paused. Oh, and one more thing everyone should know. Those embryos you wanted destroyed? You signed papers agreeing to it, but you never once asked me how I felt. Never considered that I might want them, that they might be my last chance at motherhood. You just assumed your decision was the only one that mattered. She looked directly at Jasmine. I hope your baby is healthy. I hope you have an easy pregnancy and delivery. And I hope Marcus is a better father to your child than he was willing to be to mine. The silence that followed was suffocating. Then Keoma walked out, pushing her triple stroller through the ballroom doors, leaving behind the wreckage of Marcus and Jasmine's perfect celebration. The moment Keoma left, the ballroom erupted. Conversations exploded from every corner, guests no longer bothering to whisper, openly discussing what they'd just witnessed. Phone cameras had captured everything. By tonight, this would be all over Lagos social media. Marcus stood frozen in the same spot, staring at the doors Keoma had walked through. Tears streamed down his face, tears he didn't bother to wipe away. His mother rushed to his side, but for once, she wasn't comforting him. Her face was twisted with anger. You knew, she hissed at him. You knew about those embryos, and you told me they were destroyed. You lied to me. Mama, I thought... Those are my grandchildren, Marcus. 3 Thompson babies that I've never met, never held because of your selfishness. Across the room, Jasmine stood alone near the gift table, her perfect baby shower completely forgotten. Guests who'd been fawning over her minutes ago now kept their distance, unsure what to say. Some were already leaving, making quiet excuses, not wanting to be part of whatever came next. One of Marcus's groomsmen approached him carefully. Bro, I don't know what to say. Those kids, they look just like you. I know, Marcus whispered. What are you going to do? I don't know. Jasmine finally walked over, her face blotchy from crying. Marcus, we need to leave. This is humiliating. Everyone is staring. He looked at her like he'd forgotten she existed. She had my children, 3 of them, and I told her to destroy them. You didn't know they'd actually become... I told the mother of my children that I was done, that I didn't want them. His voice broke. What kind of man does that? Jasmine's face hardened. A man who was trying to move forward. A man who deserves to be happy. She manipulated you, Marcus. She got pregnant to trap you. She got pregnant because she wanted to be a mother, Marcus shouted, loud enough that several remaining guests turned to look. I'm the one who gave up. I'm the one who walked away. I'm the one who... He couldn't finish the sentence. Mrs. Thompson was now sitting in a chair being fanned by concerned relatives. She looked like she'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. My grandchildren, she kept repeating. 3 babies I'll never know. Marcus's best man, who'd been watching from across the room, finally approached. Look, man, I love you. But that was cold. Inviting your ex-wife to your baby shower? What did you think would happen? Jasmine said, I don't care what Jasmine said. That woman spent years trying to give you a family. You blamed her when it didn't work, then married someone else within months. Now you find out she actually succeeded, and you're shocked she didn't tell you? Marcus had no response. By 5 p.m. the baby shower was effectively over. Guests had trickled out, leaving behind their expensive gifts and half-eaten desserts. The baby Thompson banner hung mockingly over the nearly empty room. Jasmine sat alone at a table, scrolling through her phone, watching videos of the confrontation already spreading online. Her perfect moment, her triumph, had become the most public embarrassment of her life. And Marcus sat in a corner, head in his hands, finally understanding what he'd lost. Not just Keoma, but 3 children who would grow up never knowing their father. Keoma left the Wheatbaker Hotel with her head held high, Grace and Patience flanking her, the triple stroller rolling smoothly across the marble lobby. She didn't cry, didn't look back, didn't give Marcus or Jasmine or anyone in that ballroom the satisfaction of seeing her break. But once they were in the car, babies secured in their car seats, Grace driving them home, Keoma finally let out a long, shaky breath. You okay? Grace asked, glancing at her in the rearview mirror. I don't know yet, Keoma admitted. Ask me tomorrow. That evening, after the babies were fed, bathed, and finally sleeping, Keoma sat on her balcony overlooking the Lagos Lagoon. Her phone had been buzzing non-stop, calls from friends, from family, from reporters who'd already gotten wind of the story. She'd ignored them all. Her sister Adana finally got through by calling from a different number. Chi, oh my God, everyone is talking about what happened. Are you okay? Do you need me to come over? I'm fine, Ada. Really. You confronted Marcus in front of 200 people and told him he abandoned his own children. That's not fine. That's legendary. Keoma smiled despite herself. I didn't plan it that way. Dr. Adeyemi let it slip about the IVF and everything just came out. Well, the entire city is on your side. People are saying Marcus is trash, that Jasmine got what she deserved for being petty. You're trending on Twitter right now. I don't care about Twitter. I know. But Chi, I need to ask, do you regret going? Keoma thought about the question carefully. Did she regret it? No, she said finally. I needed that closure. I needed to look at Marcus and feel nothing. And I do. When I saw him today, I didn't feel anger or pain or even satisfaction. I just felt free. And the babies? Are you worried about custody issues? He signed away all rights to those embryos. My lawyer already confirmed I'm legally protected. Marcus has no parental rights unless I grant them, and I won't. What if he fights for them? Then he'll lose. He wanted them destroyed. I have that in writing. The courts will see him as a man who abandoned his children before they were born. After they hung up, Keoma opened Instagram for the first time in hours. Her single post from earlier, her hand on the stroller handle with the caption "New Beginnings," had exploded with comments. Queen behavior. You showed them what real strength looks like. Those babies are beautiful, and they're lucky to have you. Among the thousands of comments, one caught her eye, from a woman she didn't recognize. I went through something similar. Seeing you stand there with your head high gave me hope that I'll survive too. Thank you. That comment made everything worth it. Kioma checked on her babies one more time before bed. All three sleeping peacefully. Chukwu snoring softly. Chidera clutching his stuffed elephant. Adana with her thumb near her mouth. They would never know the full story of how they came to be. Would never know that their father had wanted to destroy them before they existed. Would never feel the rejection that Kioma had absorbed on their behalf. All they would know was that their mother loved them enough to fight for them when no one else would. Kioma kissed each forehead gently, whispering the same words she said every night. You are loved. You are wanted. You are my greatest blessings. Marcus had gotten his fresh start with Jasmine, his uncomplicated pregnancy announcement, his perfect baby shower, or what was left of it. But Kioma had gotten something better. 3 miracles, a thriving business, genuine peace, and the knowledge that she'd survived the worst and come out stronger. She'd walked into that baby shower not for revenge, but for proof. Proof that she had healed, that Marcus no longer had power over her emotions, that her life was full without him, and she'd walked out with exactly that. The girl who'd been called broken had rebuilt herself into something unbreakable. The wife who'd been abandoned had become a mother of 3, and a CEO worth millions. The woman everyone pitied had transformed into someone they admired. Marcus could keep his new marriage, his uncomplicated love story, his perfect narrative. Kioma had something infinitely more valuable, her children, her dignity, and closure that came not from his validation, but from her own transformation. She posted one final thing before bed, a photo of her 3 babies sleeping, their tiny faces peaceful and perfect. The caption was simple. Sometimes the best revenge is living well, but the best life is one built on love, not revenge. These 3 taught me that. Grateful beyond words. By morning, it had 1 million likes. But Kioma didn't see them. She was too busy making breakfast for her babies, planning her next business meeting, living the full, abundant life she'd built from ashes. Marcus Thompson had given her pain, but Kioma Okonkwo had turned that pain into power, and that was the greatest victory of all. Moral lessons. Patience rewards those who persist. Kioma's journey from heartbreak to triumph came through perseverance. Never let someone else's rejection define your worth. Marcus's abandonment didn't make Kioma broken. True strength is rebuilding yourself when everything falls apart. Kioma transformed pain into purpose. The right blessings will find you at the right time. Her children came when she was ready, not when Marcus wanted them. Living well is the best response to betrayal. Kioma didn't seek revenge. She built a better life. Your value isn't determined by who stays or leaves. Marcus's departure made space for Kioma's growth. Protect your peace above all else. Kioma chose to keep her children from a father who'd already proven unreliable. Dear viewers, you just heard a story that carries a powerful lesson, one that could change someone's life, open a mind, or heal a heart. But if you walk away without liking, sharing, or subscribing, it's like silencing the voice of our ancestors who passed down these tales. Don't let their wisdom fade. Don't be the reason the next person never hears this message. Like, share, subscribe. Let the story live on. Thank you for watching.